Okay, good afternoon everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Maddie if you don't know me, and if you've clicked on today's video, you know that today we're going to be talking about my experience nannying for a super rich family in Paris. And I'm kind of nervous to I don't know, I just feel I don't know. So I hope that by talking about this will give you some insight into kind of what it's like if you're someone like me that's looking for some extra work and whatnot. And just like a disclaimer, obviously not all families are like this, but I do find that this is kind of the name of the game. A lot of things that happened to me in a lot of my experience, that's just kind of how it is nannying in Paris. You can kind of expect some of these things, so take with that what you will, you know, whatever. I'm just gonna talk about my experience and you can figure it out for yourself. But it was definitely a very interesting experience, whatever. So okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so just first of all, a little backstory. First of all, I'm from Oklahoma, so there's not a lot of, for me, my concept of a nanny, growing up, was someone that was maybe in high school that came and picked you up after school and hung out with you for a few hours and went home, or maybe during the summer you nannied full time, but you would go there and take them to the pool. And it was just a very chill experience, I think. And that could just be the people in Oklahoma, but it's just it wasn't so freaking, you're not raising these kids, which I think when you're a nanny or an au pair, you kind of feel like you're raising these children, basically. So as you might have known from my other videos, I was previously an au pair and I came back to teach English, and you only teach, you're only in class 12 hours a week. And so I was okay, well, I'm gonna get another job because I really need to make some extra money and I think it'll be great, you know, whatever. So I go about searching for families, and I found this family on a Facebook page called, I think it's called English Speaking Moms in Paris. And if you are an English speaker in Paris and you want to get a side job or something like that, it is shooting, what's that expression? Shooting fish in a barrel. You can pretty much I could get another nannying job tomorrow if I wanted to, because people in Paris are so desperate to have someone speak English to their kids, for their kids to learn English, you know, whatever. So I get on this Facebook page, English Speaking Moms in Paris, and I get a wave of responses to my post. I maybe got 30 responses. People were messaging me hey, I don't know if you saw my comment. And one of the comments on my post was, so it was someone responding, and then someone responded to her saying, this is a great family to work for, you should consider them. And I was okay, perfect, we have a reference, that's great, you know, whatever. So I get in contact with her, the mom, and she's oh, you know, we live, okay, I'll just say they live in the 16th. The 16th is a very ritzy area for sure, which I don't think I really understood at the time. But also, new mug alert, I don't know if anyone noticed, but I go to their apartment in the 16th, and I still had really no concept of what this was gonna be you know, whatever. And I walk in, and it is I think there's nothing I can say that can give you the visual of how gorgeous this apartment was. Huge ceilings, I mean maybe 20 feet, 30-foot ceilings, this grand huge room. Just to give you a concept, it was a 4-bedroom 3-bath apartment in Paris. Huge kitchen, a ping pong table, so well designed. It looked out over a park. It also had a view of the Eiffel Tower. It was gorgeous. So I come up and I meet the mom, and and the mom seemed super cool, chill, gave off like a very like just like a cool energy. She was dressed really well, and I definitely think that that's something that really kind of like, wow, like this is amazing. And the way that she was talking about the job was, she was like, okay, so kind of backtracking a little bit. So I didn't want to take care of little kids. I wanted to find some older kids because I was like, I don't want to be wiping butts. I want a very chill job. I want something that's low stress. I just come to the house, I take care of the kids, I leave, it's fine. If I would have only known. And so when I show up, okay, so the post for the job, it was for a 9-year-old, or I think at the time it was an 8-year-old girl and an 11-year-old boy. And I was like, oh, perfect age, because they're still kind of young, where hopefully they won't be dicks to me, but they are old enough where they can kind of like manage for themselves. I mean, obviously I need to help them a little bit, but like they've kind of know what to do and, you know, whatnot. And so when I show up at the apartment, there are two, I mean, adorable, the cutest kids I've ever seen in my life, but these two, maybe like 2-year-olds or 3-year-olds, and I was like, what's going on here? And they're running around, and I'm talking to the mom, and I was kind of like, okay, this isn't what I was looking for. But the mom was like, oh no, so they have a separate nanny. They have a different nanny that takes care of them pretty much full time, and then you would just be for the 9-year-old and the 12-year-old. And she said, even like for dinner, they will have, the babies will have a separate dinner, and you will prepare dinner for the older kids. And I was like, oh, okay, like that seems totally fine. There'll be another nanny here, like it should be fun, I guess, I don't know. So yeah, so that was kind of my first introduction, and I took the job. I took it right away, and she was like, okay, you can come and start the job, you know, literally like pretty much. Actually, I think that I should have looked this up before, but maybe I met them on like Friday, and I think I started on like Monday or something like that. It was crazy. And the way so the boy was already at the apartment. He had school a little bit later, and so he was like, oh, hello, you know, they could already speak English pretty well. I was like, hi, you know, whatever. And then the way I met the girl was on Monday. I went with basically like the head housekeeper, organizer. We will get into the staff in just a second, but so I went with the like main housekeeper, and she was like, oh, you know, you can either take the bus or you can walk to school, you know, whatever. And we show up to the school, and she's like saying to the little girl, oh, you know, come on. And she's like, oh, this is your new nanny, here you go. Which I think and she was like, oh, and can you imagine? I just think it would be kind of jarring to get out of school and there's this new person standing there that's going to take care of you. And that's it. We go to her dance lessons, and she kind of shows me what to do, like where to go, and I didn't know that this would literally be the only time that anyone shows me like how to do anything. So, and then we walk back to the apartment, and I think from then, I don't know. So anyway, so that was my first introduction to the kids. Okay, so just to give like a outline to my responsibilities. So I was mostly there for the little girl. The boy could go to and from school by himself. He could go to his activities, but I just needed to pick him up from football, from soccer, which I will get into in a second. But the girl, I had to walk her to dance 2 times a week and then come back with her from dance. And I also made them dinner, helped them with their homework, and basically was just kind of responsible for them, you know, while they were in my charge, I suppose. And what I also didn't realize at the time, so I thought that this would be like a normal nannying job where like the parents are at work, they're at work, right? So they can't take care of them. But what I didn't realize was that the mom would be home most of the days and not working, but like doing, because she was very high up at a company, and I think she took some time off, and yeah, so so she was home most of the days, and then also there was like a rotating door of grandparents who were there like every single night, which was fun. I really liked the grandparents, but it's just like, if you've ever been a nanny or an au pair, when the kids are there with the parents or the grandparents, it's like you can't really have authority because they're looking to their parents or grandparents. It's really hard to get things done. Like if the parents are like, okay, you need to take them back in the room and do homework. Like, for example, the girl would always come out and ask her mom questions about her homework. And I said to her, like, you need to ask me, you know, like, whatever. Dinner, there was very, like, this is the things I feel like I'm gonna keep remembering very specific, like, crazy things. Like, for example, for dinner time, they had to have a starter every night. A starter, like, an appetizer, and then we would give them, like, the main course. And it was very strict about, you couldn't start dinner until you've served the appetizer, because the mom wanted the dinner to be like very warm and fresh. But sometimes it made it very difficult because the mom also wanted dinner to be done in like 30 minutes or like an hour, and she would get really mad. That's another thing that we'll come to. She would get really mad, especially at my fellow nanny, who was the nanny for the younger kids, who I still like really love. We actually became pretty good friends. We would like go out for wine after, like Chipotle, and just like, she would get mad. Like one day she would tell my fellow nanny, like, okay, you're going too slow at dinner, and then she would tell them like, oh, you're rushing. Like, she would always be like mad at her about dinner and all this stuff. It was crazy. I had to help them with their homework, and the homework needed to be in like a certain way, and just like the way that they like studied for tests and things. And the boy would have projects, but like the mom would be doing the project for him. But something that I didn't really realize was gonna be my responsibility. So on one of my first days, I show up and the mom is like, where's the boy? I almost said his name. Where's the boy? And I was like, wait, what? And she was like, yeah, you need to go pick him up. And I said, well, no one like told me, because I was still in the learning, you know, the learning phase here. And she was like, yeah, you need to go pick him up, like take the car and go. And I was like, oh, I don't think that and I didn't say this because like, and I should have spoken up. Just like huge lessons here, and like speaking up for yourself. It's always worth it to advocate for yourself. So she's like, take the car. If you've ever driven in Paris or on like the periphery of Paris, it is so stressful. And I was like, oh, okay. And she didn't send me the address. We'd only been there once. So I'm like driving around, like trying to remember where to go, like freaking out. I'm like literally about to cry. Like, you know, like so much traffic. You have to go around these huge roundabouts, and there's like no organization. So I finally made, and also, okay, so at the time there was a lot of construction by the football. So you had to like just kind of like pull up on the side, and it's a super busy street. And I was like, oh my God, like this is just so stressful. And so I was literally like over an hour late to get the boy. And he gets in the car and he's like, yeah, you know, whatever, it's fine. So we go back, and it was like and then of course so I was like late for dinner, and it was just like domino effect. She never asked me if I could drive, and I was like, oh, okay. And she would often, and the thing too is that it would be just as fast to walk, just because of like the way the traffic is and everything. It would be just as fast to walk or take the bus from dance and other things. But the mom would be like, oh, just take the car and go pick her up. And I was like, okay, all right, okay, I'll just take the car and go get her. And one time I had to drop the boy off at music lessons, and it was like kind of near the Eiffel Tower, also a lot of traffic. Once again, I was very stressed. whatever. I just like never want to drive in Paris. I think it's so stressful, and yeah, it's horrible. Okay, so as I mentioned, I worked with, okay, so there was, just to briefly go over like the staff. So there was the main kind of like housekeeper, organizer, like I would say she was pretty much in charge of the household. Like she was the number two to the mom, whatever. And so she had been there for like 10 years. And I was like, I don't know how you survived. Okay, so head honcho. Under her, there's me who works with the two older kids. There's another nanny who works with the babies, the younger kids. There was someone who came in to do the ironing, like strictly just the ironing. There was also a weekend nanny that would come take care of the kids on the weekend, because like why would you ever want to spend time with your kids ever? I don't know why you would. And then I think there was like another cleaner. Yeah, I think there was also another cleaner who would also do just like general cleaning, you know what I'm saying? But there was like a full staff of people like at all times, like doing, like preparing, if they were ever having like a dinner party, they would have kind of everyone like on deck helping prepare food, like setting the table, doing all these things. And just like, I mean, like literally there's like a staff of like 7 of us, and I was like, I would just love to know how much they're paying for like the help, every year. And I know like so far you're probably watching this and you're like, okay, like yeah, you had to drive in Paris, whatever, but like what's so bad about this? Like why were you stressing? Well, okay, so first of all, as I explained to you, the mom was always home, and the mom was a micromanager. Like she wanted us to text her every single night and approve the dinner. She like wanted us to show her everything. She was like always texting us like, oh, did you do, whatever. And I think the whole point of having nannies is to like take some of that responsibility off of you. So it's kind of counterintuitive to like be in the business, like just, like just let it go a little bit. But no. Yeah, so she was a micromanager and she had a temper. Oh my God. One day, we were outside playing with all 4 kids, me and the other nanny, and she was like, so what do you think of the mom? And I was like, I don't know, like what is our dynamic here? And I was like, oh, I don't know, she seems fine to me. And okay, this is what I was gonna say also. So when I first started working there, I would get annoyed with the other nanny because she was like, no, it needs to be like this, like it needs to be this particular way. And after a couple of days, she was like, I'm just trying to help you, because if the mom sees you doing these things, she will freak out at you. She was like, you'll get like maybe a couple weeks of like a grace period, and then like it's gonna be like she's gonna freak out on you. And she's like, so I'm just trying to help you, like just so you know. And I was like, okay, like thanks. So we go to the playground and I'm like, oh, I don't know, like yeah, they seem fine, like I like the mom so far, like she seems nice to me. And the other nanny was like, just you wait, like just you wait, she is a monster. Like she used a couple other choice words to describe her. And she, over the course of it wasn't even a year of working together, the other nanny and I, she told me some stories about the family and about how they've treated some of the other like help that they've taken on, like some of the other nannies and other things that they've taken on vacation with them to help with the kids. And it's so sick. Like, I mean, like things like not asking any of the nannies what they want to have for dinner, so the nannies would just have to like eat their leftovers or like find whatever. And just things that are just so rude, and you have so much money, and the other nanny was not getting paid barely anything, and she was there full-time Monday to Friday and also on Saturdays. And there's a whole other discussion. I'm not saying this is the case for my friend, but I think there's this whole kind of system. I'm sure it's in other big cities too, but it seems that there's this system in Paris of, I think a lot of nannies come here without papers, and these families kind of exploit them and get them to basically work for nothing so they can like help them with their visa or whatever. So I don't know, it's a very interesting issue, and you know, whatever. So anyways, so the mom, God, okay. I just spilled water all over the couch. Okay. God damn it. Okay, I think this video is already getting super long. So I am actually going to split it into 2 parts. So that is going to be the end of part 1. I will continue my story in part 2, and we will get into some more like stories about the family, I think, and talk about like why specifically it was such a nightmare for me. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stick around for part 2. I will link it somewhere, and yeah, see you in a second. Hopefully, I don't know, hopefully watch it. Bye.